Okay, that's a painting. Do some painting. I think I've got quote unquote skin far enough. That would be okay. I can start working on some cloth, some fabric. Let's see what kind of damage I can do here. do 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 do. Okay, let's see. Do, inside of me. Never changes and never we believe it's not the real me. You'll be famous animal. See the dark inside of me. Never changes and never I have become. Believe it's not the real me. The only demons animal. We believe it's not the real me. The only demons animal. It's hard to see what I'm doing when I'm painting it like that. I say, Joe, what you doing? Why you playing that way? It's not the real me. Do do. Overstand me. I'm giving me all the way. Some of this just has to be painted that direction. loneliest day of my life. Lonely day is mine. Most loneliest day of my life. Most loneliest day of my life. A lonely day, and it's mine. A lonely day, it's mine. Most loneliest day of my life. Be there. Most loneliest day of my life. Loneliest day. And it's mine. Most lonely. Okay, Joe, let's not mess this up. Hey, Jet, how's it going? We're just, well, and by we, I mean me. Working on this. Terrible heartburn? You gotta Tums the hell out of that shit. Get rid of it. And the chewy Tums, the chewable, not the chalky ones, but the chewy ones. Those ones work really fucking good. Watch out so I don't mess up my paint job. I have to make a command where it shows my YouTube stuff too. It doesn't. This is the first Nerikson one I have. I mean, I've seen a lot of his stuff. This is the first one. Well, I bought the STLs. So. Well, specifically this month's STL subscription. Some pretty cool looking ones, though. Not all of them. I think I like this one because it's not so fucking detailed. I'm getting to like less and less the overly detailed models. They're fun. Jinx is painting up the how do you call it? The Tinker Fairy, the one that's sitting on the radio. She's putting an actual speaker in. She's putting a like a Bluetooth speaker inside the radio, so it works. Then I think she's got like an LED in the little lantern. So it's pretty cool. Medusa Perseus. That was pretty cool. Not my subject matter necessarily, but it's cool looking. I guess I'm not that into the historical ish side. I don't know. If the sculpt speaks to me, yes. But I think it's because that subject matter is fairly. It's so recognized. Not even recognized. It's just been around for a while. Well, this one is size for 140 millimeters, so I just printed this out, and this is fucking huge. But yeah, I do that same thing. I like to blow up STLs and be careful because I just painted the marble yesterday, so that stuff might still be wet because it's fairly. There's a lot of titanium dioxide in that. Dead Sky finally wore me down. I started a YouTube channel. Reminds me, I need to find. So yeah, no, lives are a thing on there. I know I'm not supposed to talk about it on once I'm an affiliate here, but whatever. So yeah, so you can find me in both places, especially for. Well, I guess the nice thing about the ones on the tube is that they're recorded, so they're there for posterity. So this robe color, my wife took some pictures of a sunrise the other day. It had some really beautiful reds and oranges and purples. So that's why it's going from purple to this. I almost thought I accidentally hit something. That is not a wash, it's oil paint. So what I'm doing here, I'll turn the palette so it's a little closer. So I'm working with quinacridone violet, quinacridone red, and then some yellow. So cadmium yellow. So then I just thin it out. depending on how thick or thin I put it on here. So in some cases it's thin like a wash, in other spots it's not. I can control that by how much thinner I add to it, you know. This one felt like it was a piece that could be done with oil paints well, so I hadn't done anything in oil paints in quite a while, and I'm like, you know what, it's time to get that stuff out, work on it a little bit. Let's see. Stop torture yourself. Use a bigger brush. Oh, so like when I'm using oil paints here, usually a lot of times I'll use two brush. So like I put one on here, and then I take my brush that's dry, and I can take this and I can blend it out. Very gentle pressure. Like I got this piece up here that's a little bit. Oil painting it's different. It's a lot more. Oh, how do I say that? It's a lot more finesse in the fact that you use a lot of. You don't necessarily have to, but I usually use a lot of gentle brush strokes. You know, see, and I had originally doing these in purple robes, and like I was telling Jet, my wife took some pictures of the sunrise last weekend, and it was reds and oranges and purples and stuff. So I wanted to use that as inspiration. So I switched things up a little bit. I got most of the body done. The body's marble because it's like a statue. I mean, there's some detailing to do first, but or to do later, but most of the form is generally already there. So I have to do the metals around here. See, this is all. It, it is not far off from the primer when I did it, but it's slightly. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but so like this still is from airbrushing the this headpiece, but this is just slightly green. So what I did is I went through, I painted most of the form. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to find something I don't like and I have to go back and fix it. So I painted most of the form, and then I came through and I started adding the veins and stuff like marble has in it. Use a reference picture to get some sort of idea, but I know I'm going to want to go back in and detail it, but all the form is basically all shaded, painted, you know, or the volumes are all developed. It's just detailing. Oh, there's a hair. The only problem with oil painting is it likes to pick up hair. And that is a Marmar Kitty. can't believe it's this late already. See, I'm going to leave that space right next to the skin, because if I leave it alone and let that skin totally dry, this quote-unquote skin, the marble, dry, then if I happen to overbrush it and I get it on the marble, I can clean it off as long as that paint is dry. But I'm sure it's got enough titanium white in it that it's going to take a little bit to dry. Maybe not. Okay. Titanium white takes a bit to dry. Thank you, Drac. So I mean that one benefit, like each painting medium has its own benefits and detractors. Problem with this is it takes a while to dry, generally. Most of the time it's fine because I can paint like for an hour in the morning and I can't paint till the next day. So most things are dry or pretty close to dry by the next time I come and work at it. The only thing that's going to not be quite that way is going to be things that have a lot of titanium white in it. So those colors, there are certain pigments that take longer to dry. It's just the reality of the game. So if I leave these spots that are right next to the marble, once that marble painting is dry, and if I get stuff over top of it, I can take my lacquer thinner, I can take my mineral spirits, and I can just clean it off like an eraser. And the stuff that's dried will be fine underneath it. I mean, I'm not going to prolong soak it, but the stuff underneath it will be fine. The stuff that's on top, just come right off. So I say that's a benefit of oil paint is you can use it like an eraser. The thinner, it's acrylic, kind of dries. And I don't know if you had heard me before, but I am now on the YouTube. I know I'm not supposed to say it because I'm an affiliate on here, but I still have to make up a bloop, uh, because I think the rule says that I physically can't talk about it, but if I have a prompt for links, I just haven't updated that yet because it's just started this week. So Dead Sky had been pressuring me to start on the tube. So I streamed to both at the same time. I know there's some interest for me to do just to do videos, but I don't know if I want to commit to that much effort yet. You know what I mean? Realistically, should I? But do I have the time for it? That'll be the great denominators. Do I have the time for it? Or do I want to cut into the time I take to do other things that aren't normal, regular, everyday things to do video, stuff like that, you know. My equipment's pretty fucking basic, you know. It's not. I'm kind of liking the way that's coming out. So I guess at least some of my stuff is getting saved somewhere instead of it just not being dumped right away. I guess you want to call it that. Let's see. Is that last Thursday? Where the heck did she send me those pictures at? That long ago already? Let's see here. Send it to me a messenger, maybe? Let's see. Where's the other place she could have sent it to me? Instagram, maybe? I'm gonna try to show you the pictures I'm working off of. I can't fucking find them. Well, all I know is that there was oranges, um, oranges not quite yellow, but oranges, kind of red, salmony colors, purples. I thought, you know what? That's be much more interesting than just this straight purple, I think. So I can use the purples for the very dark spots on here, the really shadowed spots, and then bring it up to. So yeah, you can use a And two brush blending is a thing also in acrylic paint, but with oil paints you have just way more time to work with it. Massage it around. Just gotta use a nice soft brush unless you're trying to cut a detail that's a little bit more sharp, but generally that start using this paint too thick, it's gonna take a lot longer to dry, but you kind of just gotta massage a layer in there, you know. Oh, you do layer? Gotcha. I started out very much as doing wet blending with acrylics, so I think my progression into oil paints when I was doing oil paints for a couple of years exclusively um, came a little bit more naturally. It was a little bit easier for me to wrap my head around that aspect of it because I was doing a lot of wet on wet work. See, I've got no rush for time when I'm doing it, which is wonderful. I mean, yes, it does dry faster than a person can think, like or than a person would think. Like if you're working with it real thin, like you got a lot of thinner in it, that does is not acrylic fast, but within 5-10 minutes it's starting to do its magic. I think one of the I think one of the other things I kind of enjoy about it, which some people probably would find infuriating, is that with them all just being, most of all of them just being like one single color, um, like the coverage isn't necessarily great on all of them because not all pigment covers. Like some colors are transparent. Yellows, reds, blues, some purples. Depending upon which exact pigment it is, but I kind of enjoy that because there are different things you can do with the paint when it's transparent. It helps you also understand how they make some of those pigments that are transparent opaque, because basically most of the time they add white in there and then they just put more of that pigment in there until it kind of like they use the white for like a filler inside of it. And that takes up the space of the, I guess you want to say, the transparent parts, and it helps the regular color to shine, the normal color to shine through and cover, and it just helps with coverage. But the problem is when you mix with it, then it gets that. You know how you mix, let's say yellow. Yellow is a good example. That's one that they usually hide a lot of white in. Um, so like you have a yellow and you mix it with a blue and you're expecting a nice vibrant green color, and it's kind of eh. It's either a little bit pale or it's a little bit muddy. Well, they've basically smuggled some white inside of that stop me if this is something that you already know. But they smuggle white into it because that makes it opaque. But there's so much of the other color in there, you don't see the white in it until you try to mix it. And then it starts giving you some funky reactions. And you're kind of like, why the hell is it doing this to me? Well, that's the reason why. Which, as someone who's using paint and mixing most of everything, everybody's using paint. It sounds stupid. But as someone who's mixing paint, so if I want my red to be opaque, I can do that same thing as I can mix some white into it to brighten it up. But then I gotta add a lot more yellow into it to cover up the fact that I added white into it, you know. Or you pre-paint that with like a zenithal, and then it already has white under it, which makes your yellow brighter. Doing the layering approach, almost more akin to like an airbrush, you know. Because a lot of those airbrush paints, the reason they cover good is because they've got white or some other opaque color smuggled in there, you know, as a filler. Which of course, whoa, cover's great until you mix it. You know, as long as you're doing sprayed layers and they dry in between, not a problem. Say, it's the physics behind it. It's not really physics, but kind of. The way light works, that's physics. Who would have thought you'd get nerdy science talk in the morning? Also, for someone who's partially colorblind to red, why do I always keep painting reds on everything? God damn, it's almost 6 o'clock already. Jesus, Murphy. So then I just want to feather out these edges where I painted last. Just so that I don't have like a sharp line when I come to paint on it. I can feather it together because this paint will likely be dry, you know, by tomorrow when I work on it again. I can come in here now that this is starting to, some of that thinner is gone out of it. I can come in here and just smoosh it together, blend it together, gentle brush strokes. Excuse me. God, I can't believe it's that late already. This morning I have to go over the implement and see if I can get a hydraulic hose made. Because yesterday when I was running the excavator, I fucking blew a hose on it. Well, I didn't blow it, but it was leaking. So those things only get worse. So go back to the shop, get a trailer. Yeah. I kind of like the way that's looking. Oh shit! 6 o'clock. I don't wanna. I just don't wanna. I gotta cut some bricks too. Blend this down so it's not. I don't have a harsh start-stop spot. Okay. Clean the brush out. Brushes out. A little bit thinner. Clean them up. See if the camera's telling me it's time to be done. So, take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We will see you on the morrow.